Do you see that in many people's eyes?
I do. I see it in a lot of people. I think there's something that God put in all of us, and that's to overcome, to move forward.
Jesus Christ, you can trust him. He'll never fail.
We've seen midgets grow. We've seen arms and legs that stop growing. Mandada basata. I don't make this stuff up.
So are we going to be called away to meet the Lord? But it's not going to be 300 years. We live in right at the coming of Jesus Christ.
You're just a 10-foot-tall crybaby.
I'm crying.
It's not so bad. I mean, no, Christians aren't being killed.
No, not yet.
What the Bible says, Leviticus 20:13. If a man also lie with mankind, as he lieth with the woman, they shall surely be put to death, their blood shall be upon them. And that, my friend, is the cure for AIDS.
The notion that atheists are somehow the intelligentsia among us and so forth, I think this is just completely false.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 31 of the Age of Reason podcast, where we are not for the faint of thought. Alex, how are you doing, man? It's been a crazy, crazy week.
Yeah, it has been. Luckily, I escaped civilization on Thursday when Donald Trump was speaking. So I went out to the California bring the kids. It was pretty cool. It's amazing how awe-inspiring a tree. You wouldn't think like a tree could be like amazing, but these trees are humongous, the largest living trees in the whole world. So it was a trip, and I mean, it really makes you feel small and appreciate nature.
Quick question: Did you learn anything about the trees? Did you guys do like a tour guide or read facts or anything?
Yeah, for like 50 cents, you get a little guide about it.
How old was the oldest tree? Is it older than God?
The oldest one living there is 3,000 years old.
Damn it!
It's
barely older than Jesus. As if we don't have enough evidence for all that. But unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be getting into too much religion today, because there is just while you were on vacation, I watched every bit. I missed two speeches. I missed a speech from Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell, but other than that, I watched every grueling second of the RNC convention, all 4 Jesus-filled days of it. Man, anyway, before we get into that, when we had Nick on last week, we heard about another police shooting that had taken place. So, Alex, you and I have discussed this already before the show. Our opinions are not changed by this, but real quick, his name is Gavin Long, the shooter in Baton Rouge. He had been planning that since the Dallas incident had taken place a week before, and he had posted videos prior to social media and all that, and basically, man, revolutions don't happen without violence. That was his main message on these videos, and unfortunately, there's I don't want to. It's hard to say there's truth to it. It really is, but I mean, it's not. This is not something we condone. This is not something we support. But again, it is something I understand it. If you put a tea kettle on a stove and leave it on high for 5 minutes and touch it, you're going to get burned. It's not that, I support the outcome or you support the outcome, but that's just the way it is. And then we had one other shooting that took place where the police in Florida responded to a man that was reported to be suicidal. And he was autistic. A grown man was autistic, sitting on the ground playing with a toy fire truck or some toy of some kind. Not a toy gun by any means. It was not a gun or that kind of toy. And police arrived on scene, and his caretaker was there and put his hands in the air and actually laid on his back on the ground and kept his hands in the air. And law enforcement shot him in the leg. Now, his account after he was interviewed in the hospital was that when he asked the cop, why did you shoot me? He said, I don't know. There's no hard, concrete evidence for that. There's no witness statement. There's no recording. There's a recording of what happened. There is video footage for that, but not of that conversation. That's his account.
Or of the shooting, I think, right? The only video I've seen shows him laying on the ground. It doesn't show the moment he's actually shot.
Right.
But but up until, I mean, you would imagine that point,
Right.
you can see the man is clearly laying on his back with his hands in the air.
and the autistic gentleman is still playing with his toy truck.
Uh-huh.
And what was confirmed was that the officer that shot that man in the leg was aiming for the autistic adult who was sitting in between the police and the man that was laying on his back. There's so much we can say about this. I mean, you got somebody that's suicidal, and it's like, what? Somebody's going to shoot themselves? That's our job. There's so much you can say about this. I mean, the guy's suicidal. We're responding with. I mean, it's not that I'm even against responding with guns drawn at first, but when you see that the guy doesn't have a weapon, the other guy's on. I don't know. Anyway, we're gonna beat this dead horse to death, and unfortunately, we will have more opportunities to talk about it. But unless you got anything, we should move on to the RNC.
No, I think, yeah, we can move on.
All right. So I have so many notes on this whole thing, so I'm going to try to skip to a few different things and just jump in wherever you see fit. First off, the overall tone of the RNC convention was we're all going to be killed, and if immigrants don't do it, Hillary Clinton will, because she channels Satan. And I'll get to that in a minute. I'm not making that up. But one thing I want to point out, there were 5 billionaire speakers at the RNC. 10 if you count the Trump family, because they're all fucking billionaires. I don't see, they were talking about how Hillary Clinton and other people cannot relate to the workforce, the working class, the blue collars, that she and her and the Democrats can't relate. And Donald Trump, whenever he's building something, he knows the electricians, he knows the concrete, the people that pour the concrete, he knows the maids, he knows everybody. But I don't understand. 5 billionaire speakers, and you're trying to relate and pull in poor America.
I think I'll comment. I'll save my comment on this one till a little bit later, because I think it ties in to the grand finale. But
okay, like I said, I'm just going over. I'm kind of just doing news right now.
Yeah, no, I mean, I guess my general, thing, same thing. You know, we are gonna all get killed, but at the same time, the level of intelligence, as I was watching these speakers, honestly, we should honestly be ashamed of ourselves when we say, like, this is one of the 2 teams that represent the best, you know, qualified people for these positions. It's, my God, it's
one of those guys. Speaking of intelligence and supremacy, Governor Steve King, whites and Western Europe has contributed more than any other group in the world. That was said off screen. And this started off with some controversy. The whole week did. The Colorado and Utah delegates stood up and walked out after they couldn't get a roll call vote to see if they can prevent Trump from even getting into the nomination spot. But they had some crazy speakers up there. Like, have you seen the movie Lone Survivor with Mark Wahlberg?
No.
Great movie. Very good. Like, if you want action, good movie. Anyway, Luttrell, who is the actual guy that the book and later on the movie was based on, said we need a leader who would treat everyone under the flag like family. And I just don't see how you can support Trump and say something like that when you're trying to make many 3 million plus members of your family register for surveillance and ban the other 1.2 billion that are in the world. I'm talking about Muslims out of the country. It just keeps on going. But then later on, or right before Trump went on to speak, he had an interview with Bill O'Reilly in which both of them said they support a law banning speech regarding killing the police or harming police. It's just, I don't know. For me, that's leading to martial law.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, when you hear even some of his speech, Trump, of course, he almost hints towards. Yeah, I mean, I'm obviously not any kind of crazy conspiracy theorist or anything like that, but it definitely hints like if he had his choice, he would make sure there's a curfew, and he would know where all the questionable people are. It is pretty disturbing.
Yeah, extremely disturbing. And another thing that they did is they had a mother whose son was one of the 4 killed in Benghazi. She came up there, blames Hillary Clinton for it. And, you and I agree, even though, you and I have gone back and forth on, the decision for burning your bus and voting for Hillary and all that. You and I agree that Benghazi on Hillary is bullshit. Correct?
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's
a right-wing plot.
Goes without saying.
Yeah. That's a witch hunt. So they had her up there. They also had parents come up there and talk about their family members, their children, basically, that were killed by illegal immigrants, which is a very small fraction. But I'll tell you what we have to worry about after this one. Giuliani came out to try to help out Trump's character and said that during 9/11, Trump was making anonymous donations to police agencies and families that lost their loved ones and all that. And it's just like, of course, you want to present a selfless act that fucktard did, but there's no proof because he did it anonymously. I did it anonymously. Yeah. Believe me.
No, he said a lot more fired up than that. Giuliani looked like somebody slipped him a little bit of cocaine or something. Oh my God. That dude needed to calm down. I thought he was going to have a heart attack. But yeah, I call bullshit.
I call anything that comes out of Giuliani's mouth bullshit. Speaking of which, man, this is if the RNC convention has done anything positive, it's that it's made late night TV awesome. I think Colbert on his opening night this week earned his Emmy nomination at the least. That opening musical number he did, plus getting thrown out of the RNC convention, doing the guy from Stanley Tucci's character from the Hungry for Power games. Oh my God, it was great. But the other big news that came out was that Melania stole Michelle Obama's 2008 speech, and this is oh my God, it's just dripping with irony. All of these racist, ignorant fucks are applauding Michelle Obama's words vicariously through an immigrant at a Trump convention. I was bathing in it. It was so nice. I was laughing when I first heard about. Oh my God! Oh.
And the funny thing too is, I saw 2 people that were friends of mine, unfortunately, that had posted before the news had came out that it was plagiarized. Oh, what a great speech, delivered with such class. Unlike our other white, our other first lady, and just taking shots at Michelle Obama while promoting Melania. And it was just so funny to see. I had to go back and see if somebody, and of course somebody did say like, oh, how do you feel now? And it's funny. Just, they got to eat it. There's nothing.
They're not going to.
They can say.
They will not, but you're right. They should have to.
And I saw the guy Cuomo, the guy on CNN. He does the morning shows.
Right.
I'm starting to really like that guy. He's doing a pretty good job of digging in and really asking the questions.
Right.
I saw him with the Trump campaign manager telling him like, look, this is not that big of a deal. This happens all the time. Just admit that that's where it's from. And he was, oh no, blah blah blah. And the guy's like, look, he's like, this is not a big deal. I don't want to keep bringing it up, but all you got to do is just admit that, the truth.
I wonder if he was the same guy that was saying things like, well, if I said this, that, and the other thing, is that me? Well, I don't know. Well, it's not. It's Dr. Seuss. And like, was that the guy that was reading Dr. Seuss quotes and like Shakespeare and shit?
No, I didn't see that one.
God, that was funny.
Oh man, but yeah, it's my God.
Well, now to get into some of the scarier stuff here. So Ben Carson got up there, some of the scary and the sleepy. Ben Carson got up there, and basically everything that he said, you can replace. They have stolen Bernie Sanders' rhetoric when it comes to talking about Trump, and they have stolen from the Bernie or bust rhetoric as well. I heard Scott Walker say a few times as well, and some other people that were on that stage, that a vote for anybody but Trump is a vote for Hillary. which is an argument that people use against Bernie or busters. They're also basically trying to get that crowd into the Trump campaign by basically throwing out Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who we will get into in a little bit. We have breaking news today, but we'll get into it after the RNC. But aside from that, another thing that he was using which is an argument that I've used with you, which is if we do not elect Donald Trump, the Supreme Court will be set back for years as liberal judges will be chosen, which I think it's crazy that they are using both sides of the Bernie Sanders party and the Hillary party's arguments with their own people. But here's the funny part. He said that Hillary Clinton's mentor, who wrote a book about being radical, gave praise to Satan at the end of it for being the original radical. Therefore, 6 degrees of Satanism, Hillary Clinton worships and is controlled and led and influenced by Lucifer.
Lucifer, that was the word he kept saying.
Yeah,
Lucifer.
he kept saying Lucifer. Yeah.
and again, I was lucky on my break at work to catch the Cuomo guy interviewing Carson, and he was saying, look, this book came out in 1969. When you were running, one of the things you said is don't pay attention to when you try to stab your best friend or things that happened in the past. Those things, don't pay attention to them. So how is it fair for you to bring that up as a point of Hillary?
Right.
And he sleepily said, well, she's been consistently for killing babies and things like this. So it makes sense to bring up Lucifer.
So, Ted Cruz did a good thing. Did you see the footage from earlier? So, basically, Cruz went out there, gave this really hyped up speech, got the crowd going, the crowd's with him, they're applauding him, everything's great. And then he goes, I'm going to tell you, vote your conscience. And he raises his eyebrow. And everybody went fucking nuts because he did not endorse Donald Trump. And earlier that day, he was giving a rally near the airport. Why Ted Cruz is still having rallies, I have no idea. But he's giving a rally, and he tells his supporters in the crowd, he goes, so it looks like our party has selected their nominee. And everybody starts booing. And as they boo, Trump's plane is flying right behind him in view and landing down the street on the airstrip. Flash forward a few hours later, he's giving this speech. He doesn't endorse Trump. Trump walks out and upstages him again. And right when Cruz is continuing to talk and everybody's booing him, Trump walks out, and he didn't back down, though. He didn't just turn around and walk away like Chris Christie. Holy fuck, was that guy just a puppy left outside in the rain without Oreos. Holy shit. Ugh.
I think one thing that we didn't mention on the first day, which normally, the Republican nominee doesn't, or Democratic nominee doesn't speak on the first day. He came out to "We Are the Champions" song by Queen.
Who, for the younger viewers, Queen is a rock band that sings songs like Another One Bites the Dust and "We Are the Champions" and Bohemian Rhapsody. And the lead singer was gay and died from AIDS.
Yeah, they're bisexual. I just don't think. I don't know. I guess. I mean, like, who told them, like, hey, that's a great idea. Play a song by a gay man, even though we're completely against all that stuff. It just makes the whole thing so comical. It's hard to take it serious. Especially when you got him talking about Lucifer and,
Well, yeah, it gets worse with Newt Gingrich. Newt Gingrich got up there and said that Hillary Clinton's going to be death by the sword and that gays will be put to death and I'm thinking as opposed to Christianity. But basically what he's saying is that if we do not elect Donald Trump, our enemies will basically become our friends as far as the White House goes. And so Muslims will pour into this country and nobody is then safe. We will have terrorist attacks every day. Women will be fucking raped in the streets. Babies will be slaughtered. Gays will be killed. Like, they give a flying rainbow fuck about the LGBT community. That was most frustrating.
Yeah, it was funny to hear, not to jump too far ahead, but on Trump's speech,
right?
He just sounded so awkward saying those words, LGB, so
BTQ.
teleprompter.
Yeah. Oh man,
I miss Gingrich's speech, but that is some crazy shit, and he was pretty close to being Trump's VP,
right?
So
it's probably that second wife he left for another woman because she had cancer. That might have had something to do with it. I think most Republicans have probably forgotten about that by now. But, well, yeah.
So,
what?
No, so speaking of the VP pick, I think we talked about it, but off air, it happened after we recorded last episode that came out about Kasich's, that he was given the opportunity to be the most powerful vice president in history. I imagine Mike Pence was probably given the same offer. But when Kasich's staff asked how they're going to do, he said, no, he'll be busy making America great.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, it was confirmed that Pence got that exact same offer. And his kids are going to get cabinet stuff. But I want to get to little Donald Trump Jr. when we're done, because I got a prediction, and it's not a good one about him. But so Trump gets up there. This is the best speech he's ever delivered from a teleprompter. And we know how he feels about Obama and his teleprompters. But best speech he's ever delivered. Sounds just like Bernie Sanders for 3/4 of the speech. Everything he's saying about the economy, about the system being rigged. By the way, he said, if you don't believe the system is rigged, ask Bernie Sanders. They're really trying to jump on Sanders supporters to get them over to their side, which is, oh God, oh man, that's just hard to think about. But he's playing on the frustrations about how they've been cheated, which again we'll get into later. But regarding Syrian refugees, he says it's not believable, but this is what's happening in regards to how many Syrian refugees are flooding all over Europe and what's going on there. And my only thought to that is, it's not believable, but this is what's happening should have been his fucking campaign slogan.
Yeah, I think, whoever the staff writer that stole Michelle Obama's speech, I think they were looking a lot into Bernie's speeches. It did definitely sound like Bernie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the beginning, the statistics, all that, it didn't sound like Trump. That's for sure.
It's just so hypocritical. The whole goddamn thing. It was just frustrating. I mean, I don't know if you heard this, but the worst thing to come out of all this, other than David Duke running for state senator in Louisiana because he's inspired by Trump. Other than that,
yeah, but he's been in Congress before, though.
Yeah, but the problem is that he's got inspired followers now.
No, but I mean, he's already in a staff. I mean, he's already he's been a politician for a long time.
No, I get that.
20 years.
Right. I get that, but what worries me is that Trump has allowed people to think that being racist and all that is okay, and he has proven, even if he gets beat in a landslide in the general election, he has proven that there's a base of people out there that needed to be stirred up, and he got them stirred up. Trump will not be the last. Somebody will come after him, and I'll give you a hint on who I think that's going to be next. But the last thing he said, tell me if you caught this, is that he wants to repeal LBJ's law to allow churches to merge with state without losing tax exemptions.
Yeah, I did. I did see that.
Holy shit.
And it was funny because he ended it by saying, we're going to keep free speech for all Americans.
Right.
And, obviously what you said earlier, he wants an amendment to outlaw talk about police. So obviously hypocritical. And I mean, obviously it would be a horrible decision to overturn that amendment. There's a reason for it. People
Right.
are already a flock. They're already sheep enough to follow the church. I guess the next step is just to get them to accept the good old party right with it. I mean, I could see how obviously that's a big thing for Republicans. That's right down their alley. But for the rest of us, people who think for themselves, we obviously understand that's a huge problem.
Yeah, it's the whole thing is scary, and Mike Pence, as we discussed last week, is scary. And I can't remember where I read this, but I found two other very funny things about Pence. He's previously spoke out. Now, Alex, you've seen the movie Mulan, right? The Disney movie.
I love that movie.
I know, Mushu, man. Mushu's funny. So, oh, that's not what you men owe me a new pair of slippers. That movie, yeah, I remember that.
Mulan's a fucking classic.
No,
the fact that this guy,
not to him.
No. The fact that this guy, I was having this conversation with my wife. The fact that he has such a problem with Mulan, to me, automatically disqualifies him for candidate for any office. That's a freaking amazing, funny movie. Adult humor, child humor. It's a cartoon. It's a great movie. Fuck that guy.
Eddie Murphy was funny, and that's so seldom nowadays. Unless he's got to be a donkey or a dragon in the last 20 years. But the reason he had a problem with Mulan is because he is firmly against not only gays in the military, but women in the military as well. And he is convinced that some left liberal to the fullest person from Disney wrote this movie in order to promote women in infantry positions, let alone just the military overall. And if that's not crazy enough, this man said that there is no proof that cigarettes kill because 2 in 3 smokers survive without dying from smoking.
I did not see that.
Holy shit.
Wow.
These were the two things I found out about this guy. Smoking is not proven to be harmful because 2/3 of smokers survive. Most of them on oxygen tanks. But that's me. I'm saying that. He didn't say that, but he did say that 2/3 survive. Now, getting into the scariest part about this whole convention for me was Donald Trump Jr. So let's go back to 2004 with Barack Obama. Now, Barack Obama was not widely known prior to the Democratic convention. That was John Kerry, right? John Kerry versus Bush in 2004.
Uh-huh.
And Obama went out there and gave a speech, and everybody went, as anybody who loves or hates Obama should be able to agree, the man can speak. And he went out and gave this incredible speech. Obviously didn't help carry out enough, but that's how Barack Obama became famous, was through that speech. Now, flash forward to 2016, and Donald Trump Jr. gets up on that stage. Now, his content, just like when I said that Trump gave the best speech of his life, that does not mean that he had substance or facts or that what he was saying wasn't bullshit. But this guy gave an amazingly well-delivered speech. And what I worry about is if Trump loses, he is going to be running for president in 2020. I'm throwing that prediction out there. If he is not, him and the Trump family will continue to be part of the right. But I think there's going to end up being a new Republican Party out of this. I think it's going to split. We're going to end up, as I've said before, we're going to have fiscally conservative, socially liberal. But I think we're also going to have the Republican trumpet party, where the rest of these guys are going to spin off if Trump loses. And I think this will be the new Tea Party. And I think they're going to look at little Donnie Jr. as what they were hoping Marco Rubio would be.
I honestly, I missed his speech, so I can't speak on that. I think, though, if Trump if Trump does lose, I think he's specially qualified. Okay, not qualified in any way that any other candidate should be qualified, but he has the qualifications, the media and everything to make this the perfect storm. I think if his son was running, he wouldn't have generated a tenth of the interest.
No,
Donald
not
Trump
if he
does.
ran. Not if he ran this time.
No,
But-
so I think in general, I mean, you never know. It could be the case, but I think if the I would imagine if Trump loses, they would have to blow up the Republican Party, and the outcome you said may come from it. But I just find it hard to think that
Well,
good old Donnie would be the man.
You said first that months ago that if Trump loses, this base that he has stirred up is not just going to go away. And it's sort of like what I've said about, the DNC needs to be rebuilt, and we need to spend the next 4 years, regardless of what happens with the nomination, we need to spend the next 4 years rebuilding either the Democratic Party or running a third. And I really think we need at least a three-party system. But I think these guys are going to feel the same way. And you're right. Donald Trump Jr. wouldn't have gotten anywhere this year. But to see how far Trump went, and with all these people that are worshiping Donald Trump, I don't know. To me, it's just a prediction. I saw this guy speak, and if I actually believed in what he was saying, I would have been stroking it right there, because he was hitting all the right points. He was from fucking shaft down to the base. He didn't forget the balls. He was all over it, dude.
I'll have to check it out. But
It was really well executed. I think I caught him stutter once, and that was about it. But again, I'm only talking about his speech capabilities and the fact that he knows what he needs to say, regardless whether it's right or wrong. But other than that, I would say the best thing to come out of this week is we got to see Jon Stewart behind a desk for 8 minutes.
and it was glorious.
Oh my God. I teared up. Like, seriously, like, I knew he was going to be on because he was on earlier that week for a short little skit. And he came up underneath the desk, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. They're going to do a skit. And as soon as he was like, he's like, hey, can I talk about the election for a minute? I was like, oh my God, no, I'm not ready for this. Holy shit. And it was, oh man, I miss that man. So I love, you do not own freedom. You do not own our police, our military, our firefighters. You do not own patriotism. His speech was, oh my God, it was exactly what I needed.
Exactly. It's exactly, I mean, what the country needed, really. He just, like always, just nailed it. And no conservative's going to listen to it or, you know, take it to heart. But, I mean, it's just too bad they don't, because somebody needs to tell these people that. It's the way that they think, that's exactly how they think. You know, when they say we need to get our country back, what does that mean? And I've had debates on Facebook with people where they put that in capital. Yeah. We need our country back. So what does that mean? It's not my country, it's your country.
Right.
You know, like, it's just, it's amazing that the people freaking think like that. And it was nice to see Jon Stewart back in.
We can continue to just salivate over the thought of Jon Stewart being on TV again. But let me ask you this. So earlier that morning, I was talking with somebody I work with, and he's a very level-headed guy from Texas, which is just strange. But we were talking, and he's not going to vote for Trump. He's not on the Trump train at all. But we were talking about, what do Republicans do better than Democrats? And something dawned on me, and I've never really thought about this. But do you remember a while back on an episode I was listening to Penn Sunday School, Penn Jillette's podcast, and he was saying he wanted to go to churches and steal the great things that churches and religion have to offer without religion itself, but the sense of community and the excitement. And I came to the conclusion during this conversation, it dawned on me that they do own patriotism. Figuratively. They own, this is my country, I fought and died for my grandpa. They own that. And I don't mean own it as in like owning a possession. Like, they own that opinion. And Democrats are, in the left and independents are quicker to burn a flag, hold it upside down, step on it, say there's something wrong with this country. I don't know what the right, and I'm not saying that's not justified. Like, don't get me wrong.
I've thought about this as well, and my perspective is just that, as you know, somebody who likes to think about world issues and thinks about when you think about just my problems and, you know, the things that I face every day, I could understand how, USA, USA, I could see that. But when you look bigger and you see how the world is, and you see that there's not just the hundreds of thousands of starving kids in the United States.
Caring about issues that you don't have a personal stake in.
Yeah, it's bigger, right? So, I mean, it would be nice to say, like, oh, let's just worry about us and fuck everybody else.
Right.
But, I mean, we're human beings, and you know, humanism is part of my thinking, and it's part of my beliefs that we should care for all humans. So it's easier for me to think on things on a worldview and say, the United States is important. And don't get me wrong. The things that the United States has done, our Constitution is unlike any document ever produced, and it's hundreds of years old. And I'm proud to be an American because of things like that. And, the things we fought for in the past, there's reason to be proud and hold the flag and have the flag.
Right.
But at the same time, we are a whole world, and it's, I don't know if, the religious people think of, because of the Bible, it says, the one world government will be, like an evil thing and things like that. But it's the nationalistic pride that we have that, I mean, it hurts us so much. And it's the reason why the whole Republican National Convention was deemed a success on their side, is because of that.
Imagine there are no countries. Wouldn't that be awesome if the world went to a sharing economy? But instead of sounding like We Are the World with Michael Jackson and every other 70s star, the reason I brought up Penn Jillette is because I think we should start thinking about how we can steal that from them. How we can steal. I worry now. No song that I can think of. Live doesn't count, but no song that I can think of that I ever hear gives me chills up and down my spine like the national anthem. It does. And what worries me is, I've talked before about how I've started to make judgments, premeditated judgments in my head, or not premeditated, but judgments before I meet somebody when I see an American flag, because my brain has been programmed to basically notice the pattern of when I see somebody fly a fucking full-size American flag on a flagpole outside their house, we're not going to get along. Because I think the difference is with us, and this is completely biased, what I'm about to say, it's completely fucking biased, but I think I love this country so much that it can withstand change. We can change these things. We do not have to kill each other. We do not have to put divides up. You and I are fucking atheists to the fullest extent. We cannot stand religion, but I am not for registering anybody because they're religious or banning them from this country. I'm not for that.
See, and I agree with what you're saying, and I brings my attention back to an exchange between Bill O'Reilly and David Silverman, the head of the American Atheist,
Right.
Who's very, I mean, he's hardcore outspoken. Anybody should look him up, and I can't remember for what reason, but O'Reilly called him a fascist, and and I was really impressed. He at first he was obviously taken back, like, what the hell, this guy's called me a fascist, but he said, "Sir, I'm a patriot," and to me, that resonated with me, because we're standing up for the Constitution just as much as the Second Amendment people are. The thing is, we're looking at the amendment right before them, and all we're doing is trying to make sure that one's followed just as much as the Second Amendment lovers are,
yeah,
or whatever the case is. We are patriots, and we're not. We're often portrayed as the evil side or whatever.
Right.
I mean, that's not true. We love the country, and we want what's best for the country.
And it's not easy. The easy thing to do is to not change anything and say, well, if we allow gays to marry, what's going to stop somebody from marrying their pig? Like, that's not. They have no faith in America, and the thing is, it's like, I have very, very little faith in people, and this year has taken me to that point. This has been a very difficult year personally, just for paying attention to politics. It has hardened me quite a bit, and not below the waist. Like, I have been so angry over a lot of these things, and it's very, very hard to deal with. But I had that conversation that morning, and then Stuart said what he said, and I just want to figure out how the hell we can take that from them. How we can come off as the more patriotic side, even though we want to change things about the Constitution. The Second Amendment needs to be changed. And I always talk about how there's nobody in the middle. Everybody's on one end of the spectrum or they're on the other, especially when it comes to something as polarizing as guns. And I'm guilty of it. It has pushed me so far to the left. I say fuck guns. Abolish the fucking Second Amendment. And I'm not the only person to be saying that. There are people in mainstream media that are saying that. Samantha Bee said that. Samantha Bee said, and look, you probably think I'm saying ban guns. That's exactly what I'm saying. She said that. So I'm not by myself here, but it's just
okay. Well, you are in this conversation, but.
No,
I'm not.
I'm admitting that it has pushed me all the way to that side to where I'm just like, fuck this, fuck it.
No, I know what you're saying, and I mean, trust me, I know what you're saying, and unfortunately, honestly, it does not look like things are going to get worse before they get better.
Unfortunately, yes.
That's how it looks, and I mean, we got to stick together and try to find as many more of us we can. That way, when we escape to Canada, they don't shoot us all or something.
Hello, buddy. What really frustrated me, I feel a rant coming here, and I felt it coming all fucking week. I think I'm due for one. This is what's really pissing me off. So many people got on that fucking stage and I'm so fucking tired of right-wingers referring to themselves as the party of Abraham Lincoln. I am so sick of that shit, because you know what? If you really do think that they are the party of Lincoln, you have proven my point once again. If you are supporting Trump, or if you support social policies of the right, you don't read fucking books. And you have no idea what a Dixiecrat is. You have no idea what happened post-JFK assassination, what happened in the actual civil rights movement when the Democrats all left to become the part of the Republican Party because the Civil Rights Bill was passed. So if you're a Republican and you take pride in the fact that your party helped black people get their civil rights, you need to shove that shit right up your fucking ass. I'm tired of that shit. I'm getting so angry. There was about 4 goddamn people that went up on that stage and referred to themselves as the party of Lincoln. We're the party of change. We're the party of civil rights. Fuck you. No, you were not. Read a goddamn book. And anybody, once again, if you think I'm lying, look it up. Or if you're willing to watch something for an hour and a half, watch the brilliant performance of Bryan Cranston playing LBJ in All the Way that aired on HBO a month ago. It'll walk you through the whole fucking thing. There is a shift between the two goddamn parties. Stop saying that you own fucking change. You are the same pieces of shit that have sat around for the 8 years, blocked everything that President Obama has tried to do, and then pointed at him and said, look, everybody, the government doesn't fucking work. I'm tired of this shit, and the only good fucking thing to come out of this crazy year of politics will be a fucking tombstone over the Republican Party. I'm tired of this shit. These fucking lies when they stand up there and say that police killings have increased 50%. No, they have not. There are 10 more killings of dead cops this year than they were the year before. And overall, we have seen a huge decrease in violence of all kinds with the exception of mass shootings. So when they stand up there and fucking tell you that that they want you safe, make America safe again by making it one again and making everybody fucking work again, it's all bullshit. We have gotten better since 1992. We don't have the violence, but what kind of fucking violence do they want you paying attention to? The 33,000 fucking people a year that die, and the goddamn 1.4 mass shootings that we have a day, of which 0.6% of the time a good guy with a gun fucking stops a bad guy with a gun. It's such bullshit. I'm tired of these ignorant bastards going off and just lying to people and people eating this shit up because they got an American flag. And for all the fucking Latinos for Trump and the Jews for Trump, fuck you guys. Jesus Christ. Alex, you got to talk for a second. 4 days, 4 days of convention. Oh my God.
Oh man. That was a good one. But I guess just to put, anytime you're having an argument with somebody and they try to use those things and say, oh, the Republicans all voted, to end slavery, for women's rights and all that. The progressives, just look up liberal and Democrats. The Republicans used to be liberal and the progressive. And that's how they voted for all those things. Like you said, after the Voting Act, that's when it switched. And some of these people should be old enough to know that I've argued with, and still they use those facts.
Yeah,
anyways,
yeah, and I'll end that rant with this thing here. So I've brought up the stand-up comedian Jim Jeffries, the Australian comedian, before his rant. Or his first special that he had on Comedy Central I think it was HBO, one of the two, called I Swear to God. He rants about religion for 15 minutes, and it is glorious. Anyway, he's got a new one on Netflix where he talks about how in his previous special, his second one, this is his third one, he did a rant on gun control, and that's what he's getting known for. And he said a line that was just perfect. He said, Republicans are pro-life until you're on their property, and then they want to be able to fucking shoot you. It's hilarious, but it's on Netflix.
I mean, in reality, it goes until they're born, because they don't want to pay any welfare or anything. As soon as they're all for your rights until you pop out. After that, you're pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
Toddlers for work. Anyway, so let's go ahead and get into the breaking news that we have today, and this is I see this as more of a problem than you do. So you go ahead and take the lead.
Well, the day before the convention starts, or actually I think it was yesterday, so 2 days before the convention starts, 20,000 emails were released from the hacker. I think his name is Guccifer.
And this is the Democratic convention coming up
from
this week.
From the Democratic convention. These are inner Democratic emails. They were from one member of the Democratic Party to another, and nobody's gone through all of them yet, but so far they've been pretty bad. The breaking news is Debbie Wasserman Schultz has resigned as chairwoman of the Democratic Party. I mean, to me, so far I've only read certain ones, and I'm still affiliated with a lot of Bernie sites, so those are the things that were popping up.
You got one that's really bad though.
So the one to me that was really, I mean, really, it just hurts.
Yep.
Is to see members of the Democratic Party questioning Bernie's faith. They wanted to bring up the fact that he was an atheist, saying that it would make a huge point difference with my peeps, my Southern Baptist peeps.
Mainly Virginia and Kentucky, I think. This was right before
Yeah,
the
I think it was West
Virginia,
Virginia and
Yeah.
Kentucky. I mean, it's just, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know how I feel. I felt kind of this way the whole time, but how do you feel? I mean,
here's how I feel. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. We found out last week. I think I think I'm in the middle on this one. I think not in the middle. I would say Nick is on one end of the spectrum. You're on the other, and I'm towards the middle, but leaning towards Nick. The only reason is I'm there's a big part of me. I love Bernie, and I wanted nothing more than for him to get the candidacy. But we've had this argument over and over again. If you don't know where I stand, listen to like the last 3 episodes where me, Alex, and even Nick have gotten in on this. I don't think it's worth the risk of Donald Trump. I have looked into Jill Stein. I do not like her. She's not good for atheists. She's an anti-vaxxer. She does not believe in large portions of science. From what I'm seeing.
Hey! I'm sorry, we're getting off topic though. We're talking about the emails.
Well, you asked me how I felt, so I'm looking at all my options here. Gary Johnson is not an option. I gave Jill Stein a shot. And so the way I'm looking at this is there's a part of me that's, obviously left over from Bernie's, from what happened. And now there's credibility. Like we got some satisfaction that, you and I have been talking since the beginning of all this about the bullshit that's been pulled, the debate schedules being during the week and during primetime TV, during there was one during the first playoff football game. Like, we knew there was something going on. So I'm not surprised that there was this type of shit going on. But the two things that surprises me, or that I get I'm happy about, is that we have been vindicated. We have proof that this shit was going on. And yes, as an atheist, whether Bernie Sanders is really an atheist or not, you and I think he is. We have no proof of that. His answers sure as hell lead you to believe that's the case. Yeah, it hurts. That sucks. But it's also great to know that we were all right. We all knew this. We all knew this was going on. And
just look at the stakes, right? I mean,
I know.
I just imagine.
So
and obviously, it's hypothetical. So, but he was so close as it was.
I know.
So if it would have been something fair,
right?
I mean, this was our chance to completely change the way politics.
So here's what we got. You asked me where I'm at. So here's my last bit of my answer here. I'm leaving it all on the convention floor tomorrow night when Bernie speaks, because I've said before, I will not burn the house down over what happened with Bernie Sanders. I will not give Trump an invitation to the White House. I will not do it. But hold up. Bernie Sanders tomorrow night. Today, him and Jeff Weaver came out and said that this has not affected his nomination or his endorsement of Hillary Clinton. They both said that. However, the polls got a little bit better for Hillary Clinton today, but they have been just horrible. It's not the chances we want. And before the primaries were over, you and I said it's not a sure thing for Hillary Clinton when it comes to Donald Trump. We've said that. But her polls are not good versus Donald Trump. Michael Moore, who I respect, I know even some liberals don't, but I respect Michael Moore, said that Trump was going to win the nomination in the beginning of the year, or last summer rather. He was correct, and he said on the second night of the convention that he's going to win the presidency. I'm still with Bernie that we need to do everything we can to make sure that does not happen. But with the poll numbers, with what just happened, Bernie being able to prove that his campaign was completely cheated out of this election, and the fact that he's got 1,700 delegates in there that can make a lot of fucking noise, Bernie Sanders has an opportunity to do something tomorrow night. He's got more than enough firepower to do something. And I'm just going to say, if he does nothing.
But what is something? I mean, this, I guess.
If he doesn't try to contest the convention is what I'm saying.
But that's just it's a fucked up spot to put him in. He's already endorsed her. So I
think this gives him a get out of jail free card, because the other side of it too is Hillary supporters are way more likely to vote for Bernie if he's a nominee than Bernie Sanders supporters are to vote for Hillary Clinton.
But see, that's where, just to me, that's where our whole population we fucked up.
Yep.
It's not just because, I didn't get my candidate, so, I'm pissed off and mad about it.
Yep.
No, we had the better. If you look, the polls consistently were saying
15
one of them
points.
has a way better chance. One of them has it's going to be close.
Yep.
And
it's gotten nothing but closer ever since.
It's just frustrating. And then she, picks her vice president nominee, who, he's not a progressive.
No, she
right?
played it safe. He's anti-NRA, so she's going to be going after. He's got an F rating with the NRA. He's also a hardcore Christian, which can compete with Mike Pence.
But look at where he is with Banks. Look at
I know.
It's like,
when I said throughout the primary that you got to vote for one or the other if they get the nomination, nobody said you had to like it. I will admit that I strongly underestimated how much you're really not going to fucking like it. But again, burning the fucking house down, not a good idea.
This is the thing that I told my wife, and I am not ready to concede on air that I'm going to vote for Hillary Clinton. But
I think you just did by saying that.
No.
Okay.
No, I'm not.
You said
I'm
on air, which means off air. You are.
No, I haven't. No, I haven't got there yet. But
okay.
The only reason that if I do, I will, is because not of fights that I'm gonna have to fight. I'm a straight married man,
right.
So my marriage is not gonna be contested if the Supreme Court switches. It's the fights that I'm not gonna have to fight those fights. Abortion, I'm not gonna have an abortion. So if I'm not somebody living in Louisiana, so it's for other people that I would be voting for Hillary, but I'm not ready to do that yet because this whole thing sucks, and revolutions are not are emotional. We talked about it being partly emotional, and you can't tell me that
a breakup.
Well, yeah, but revolutions are not rational, right? When you think about it purely rational, it's not rational to shake the whole system. But I don't know. Sometimes
it's not, because you know what? Your revolution, Bernie's revolution, our revolution, will never happen if Trump gets in that office. It will not. This country will be burnt to the fucking ground before any of that happens. And the problem with that is the people in power and the people on TV are the ones that get heard the most, and they're the ones that carry the most weight. Bill O'Reilly's words carry, even Sean fucking Hannity's words carry more weight than yours and mine, because he is known. That's just the way it works. And Stewart showed us exactly how contradicting they are between everything they had an issue with Obama on compared to now they're supporting fucking Trump. It's that easy. And that's why I've said 2020.
But just we got to go wrap it up. But tell me this,
we got like
honestly.
5 more minutes.
When I was listening to Trump's speech, and I unfortunately had to listen to it right now before we got on. I listened to it probably 2 hours before we got on.
Mm-hmm.
So it's fresh. But how many of the things he said about Hillary are honestly dishonest?
No, that was my problem with Benghazi. There was, there was a bit about
Benghazi.
that. So excluding Benghazi, but like her thing about
up until he got there,
her deal with emails. But this is the thing. This is the thing, and I totally understand what you're saying. 3/4 of Donald Trump's speech, my biggest fear, my biggest problem with that is that his speech writers did a great job pandering to people like us, because for 3/4 of that speech, I didn't disagree with him.
Yeah,
it was the last quarter that I had a problem with. But
I know.
But you and I fucking know better, and this is my main thing about Donald Trump. You can say any negative thing you can say about Hillary Clinton, you can say about Donald Trump. But not everything you can say negative about Trump, you can say about Hillary. That's the bottom line. This is a lesser of two evils deal, but that is how you determine who the lesser of two evils are. There is not one negative thing that you can say about Hillary Clinton that you cannot say about Trump, but vice versa is a different story.
Yeah, but so then if I'm getting into a political argument between now and November, it's basically a mudslinging argument and who can stay the cleanest. I
Not exactly. I mean, really, where does racism really put you? I mean, think about that. Think about how low you are with just racism. Because you can't say that about Hillary.
No, but at this point, right? There's a lot of Republicans who maybe couldn't stand Trump at the beginning, but they hate Hillary or whatever the case, that may not be racist. They're still going to vote for Trump because he's the Republican nominee. So right now the waters are muddy. Right. Excuse the term, but previously in the primary, you could see if you voted for Trump, you could pretty much, he's racist. In this general election, that's not necessarily the case. There's going to be Republican people that don't want Hillary in office, that want a Republican in office and vote for Trump. That doesn't mean that they follow all the ideals.
Okay, so Gary Johnson's polling at 6%, Stein's polling at 3% nationally. More reason for everybody to vote for Hillary. As much as and that's the thing. I mean, I honestly am surprised that I'm able to say these things. And what I really fucking hate is having to defend Hillary Clinton. I hate having to do it. But there was a Facebook post earlier this week that, and you know what? It's election week, so we can go around and give a shit. Or not election week, convention week. People keep posting, tell me one reason why I should vote for her, Hillary, without mentioning him, Trump. And have you seen these things flying around?
I think, yeah, I've seen. I mean, I've seen.
I lit somebody up and basically was like, this is like saying, tell me one and this guy is anti fucking gun. And I went on one of the page and I said, this is a bullshit fucking argument. This is like saying a gun supporter, NRA rep coming up and saying, give me one reason not to own a gun other than the fact that they kill people. That's the scenario that you're presenting, and you would call bullshit on that NRA supporter if they ever tried to give you that argument. So don't fucking give that.
This is the problem, honestly, right? And I understand the stakes, but you almost have to put those aside and listen to what that narrative is like saying, if the whole world is going to end if you don't vote for Hillary Clinton.
That's a bit of an exaggeration, but really it's a bit of an exaggeration. Hillary Clinton will not collapse this country. That you and I, again, were going to vote for Hillary Clinton before Bernie came around. Now, yeah, but granted, Bernie Sanders and everything that he is, understood. But we weren't worried about the things that, like, we are pissed at Hillary and we are not voting for her because of Bernie. Not necessarily because of what she did to Bernie. She's got faults too.
What she did to Bernie. No. I mean, not just what she did to Bernie. And it's not just, and like I said, I'm not all the way there yet. It's not just that simple. the whole process, I mean, she knew she was going to run for president, but she still made the speeches. You know, I mean, it's just,
I know.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
But if Bernie never entered this race, we would have a much easier time, both of us, handling this. Because she is the only choice. Now, like I said, I'm leaving everything on the convention floor. If we see a huge, I mean, if Bernie gets the nomination somehow, I mean, and it shouldn't be shocking. It'll be surprising if Bernie gets the nomination, but it shouldn't be shocking given the year on both sides of the aisle that we've had. Strange, crazy shit has happened. But it's like you said. So I wrote an article on the AOR website, I don't know, 3 months ago or so before the elections ended, about what to do if Bernie Sanders does not win. And one of my ending line in there is that LGBT, minorities, women, and a bunch of other people will thank you for voting for Hillary Clinton if that ends up being the case. Because as we discussed before we got into this conversation, what being a liberal really means and what being a humanist really means is caring just as much about the shit that you don't have a stake in than you do with the stuff that does personally affect you. And as bad as it sucks, this isn't worth it. But I'm reminded of the end of The Dark Knight Rises, where somebody reveals themselves as being the villain the whole time, and they said it's not the punch to the face, it's the slow knife that waits years of planning and plotting to slip between the bones of your rib cage that hurts the most. We got 4 fucking years. People need to stay involved. Hillary Clinton is a goddamn paperweight. Let's set her on the fucking papers of our Supreme Court and leave it at that.
That part's bullshit.
What part is bullshit?
She's going to be there for 8. We don't have time, but she's going to be there for. It's not a 4-year thing. You can't say, "Oh, we're going to start the."
Are you
revolution.
telling me getting decent candidate to run third? Are you telling me a decent candidate to run third party over the next 4 years with all these Bernie supporters hopefully staying engaged is a longer shot than what Bernie did this year?
Yeah, because what you're saying is nobody vote for a third party this year. Everybody vote for the Democrats this year. But tomorrow, next year, then we'll all come out and really get them. It's counterproductive. But we'll have to have this conversation next time.
Either way, it doesn't burn the house down.
Convention here, so.
Yes, but either way, it doesn't burn the house down.
All right.
Yeah, you'll come around. I'm sure of it. All right, cool. Everybody, follow us on the Age of Reason podcast page on Facebook, and for everything else, aorpodcast.com. Man, I got 4 more days of this. Hopefully this isn't as crazy as last week. And you're gonna watch this week, right?
Yeah, I'll be here.
All right, cool. All right, everybody, we'll see you next week.